A poor young woman named Amara lives on the edge of a struggling village. Because she wears old clothes and works small jobs, everyone treats her as worthless. When a terrible crisis strikes the village, and the people discover that none of their respected leaders can solve it, Amara becomes the person nobody expected to save them. Every morning, they laughed when Amara walked through the village. They laughed at her torn clothes. They laughed at the small basket she carried, and whenever she spoke, people told her to stay quiet. To them, she was just a poor girl with nothing to offer. But one afternoon, the entire village gathered in fear. Their wells had dried up, their crops were dying, and without water, hundreds of families would soon have nothing left. The village leaders promised they would find a solution, but days passed, nothing changed. Then, when everyone had almost given up, Amara stepped forward. The same girl they had mocked for years looked at the crowd and said, "I know where the water is." Nobody believed her, but what happened next changed the way the entire village saw her forever. Amara had never asked the village for much. She lived with her elderly mother in a tiny house near the edge of the forest. Every morning, she woke before sunrise. She fetched water, collected firewood, worked in people's farms, and returned home exhausted. The little money she earned was barely enough to buy food, but Amara had something the villagers didn't know about. Her late father had taught her how to read the land. He had shown her how to recognize the signs of underground water, where certain plants grew, how the soil changed, where birds gathered, and how the ground felt beneath her feet. Her father had once told her, "The land always speaks. You only have to learn how to listen." Amara never forgot those words. Then came the drought, and suddenly, the knowledge everyone had ignored became the only thing that could save them. Show Amara's daily humiliation. Villagers laugh at her clothes. Children copy the way she walks. A wealthy farmer refuses to pay her fairly. Village leaders dismiss her when she warns them about the worsening drought. Her mother encourages her not to lose hope. Then the village well finally dries completely. Fear spreads. People begin fighting over the remaining water. The village chief calls an emergency meeting. Everyone offers ideas. Nothing works. Amara quietly listens. Then she remembers her father's lesson. She realizes something important. The village has been searching in the wrong place. Amara approaches the village chief. She tells him she believes there is underground water beyond the old forest path. The villagers laugh. One man says, "And now the poor girl thinks she's a scientist." Another tells her to go home, but Amara refuses to argue. She simply asks for one chance. The chief finally agrees. Amara walks into the forest. She studies the plants, touches the soil, follows birds, then stops beside a dry patch of ground. She says, "Dig here." The men begin digging. Nothing happens. They laugh again, but Amara doesn't leave. She tells them, "Keep going." The digging becomes harder. The villagers lose patience. One man walks away. Another says Amara has wasted everyone's time. Then the digging reaches deeper. Still nothing. Amara's confidence begins to shake. For the first time, she wonders if she was wrong. Then she remembers her father's voice. She kneels beside the hole, touches the soil, and notices something. The earth is damp. She tells them to continue. A few minutes later, someone hears a strange sound. Then water begins pushing through the soil. At first, only a trickle, then more. Then suddenly water bursts from the ground. The villagers stare in complete silence. Amara's eyes fill with tears. The discovery saves the village. But Amara doesn't stop there. She helps organize the water supply. She teaches the villagers where to dig additional wells. She helps farmers protect their crops. People who once mocked her now come to her for advice. The wealthy farmer, who once refused to pay her, stands before everyone and apologizes. The village chief admits, "We judged you because of what you didn't have. We never bothered to see what you knew." But Amara doesn't demand revenge. She simply says, "We all need each other now." Months later, the village begins to recover. New wells are built, crops return, children have water again. Amara's mother watches proudly as villagers gather around her daughter. The village chief offers Amara a permanent position helping manage the village's water and farms. But Amara asks for something else. She wants the village to create a small school where poor children can learn skills without being judged. The village agrees. Years later, children from that school become farmers, builders, teachers, and leaders, and whenever someone asks how the village survived its darkest season, the elders tell the same story. They remember the poor girl everyone laughed at, the girl nobody listened to, the girl who had almost nothing except the knowledge, courage, and heart that saved them all. Never measure someone's worth by what they have. Sometimes the person everyone overlooks is carrying the very thing you need to survive. Tell us what you feel about the story on our comments section, and please don't forget to subscribe, share and turn on the notifications button for more stories. Thank you.